I want to turn to one of those Democratic leaders now, Congressman Joaquin Castro of Texas. Congressman, I want to ask you about this reaction that's coming in. We are seeing President Biden step out of this race. He has endorsed Vice President Kamala Harris to become the next possible Democratic nominee. Do you believe that she is the best person fit to be the nominee in November?
I do, and I think she can beat Donald Trump in November. And I think you're going to see Democrats rally around her in the coming weeks ahead of the convention. And first, I want to say that Joe Biden has been a truly transformational president, and he can be so proud of the work that he did for 3.5 years, what will be 4 years of his term, on behalf of the American people. This country, it was on the brink of economic collapse. Hundreds of thousands of people had died of a pandemic, a once-in-a-century pandemic. He rescued the country from both of those things. He fought on climate change, for women's rights, appointed the first black woman to the Supreme Court. This president will be recorded as one of the most consequential presidents in American history.
Congressman, we are hearing you saying that you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is the best person to be on the ticket in November. Do you get the sense that there will be some division within the Democratic Party on this?
Well, this is a Democratic Party that is a party. This is not a cult. This is not the Republican Party that is all about MAGA and Donald Trump. And so, of course, there's discussion and debate. But I think at the end of the day, and the conversations that I've had with both colleagues and with people in San Antonio who have called to talk about what happens next, both people who are elected officials and then just everyday people living in the neighborhoods in Texas, have expressed confidence in the vice president. And I think that's what you're going to see leading up to the convention.
Do you believe that this was the best decision for the president to make? And there are some that may raise in the party that these conversations should have been playing out a year ago. I mean, look at the fact that we are just about over 100 days until the election. Now you have all these questions about the delegates, how the convention's going to play out, if Vice President Harris will actually be, in fact, on the ticket, who her running mate will be. That's a lot to figure out for your party in such a short amount of time. Should these conversations have happened sooner?
Well, look, I mean, we can't go back and rewrite history and change how things went down and everything. The only thing that we can do is make sure that we have the strongest campaign going forward. And I believe that Vice President Harris is the person to lead it. I think that she'll work to choose a great vice president. There are a lot of great choices out there. And then we're going to do what we've been doing for years, which is to go knock on every door we can, contribute if we can, make every phone call we can, talk to family and friends and spread the word and get them out to vote. And that's how we're going to win in November. And we're running against a guy who is a convicted felon, who lost a civil case because he sexually assaulted a woman, who is the worst demagogue and most divisive person we've seen on a presidential stage in generations. And so as between those two people, I think most Americans will agree that Kamala Harris is a better candidate.
You certainly have a number of Democrats that are sort of breathing this sigh of relief. They wanted to see President Biden step aside, even those that publicly were not saying it yet. What are you most concerned about in the weeks to come, Congressman?
I just want to make sure that as Democrats, we can now get unified and we can make sure that the person that we're focusing on our campaign, but also that we're focused on beating Donald Trump. And, you know, I think that most Americans in the end in November will agree with us.
Congressman Castro, we so appreciate your time. Thank you so much for joining us as we are following these breaking developments. Thank you so much, Congressman.